Hey everybody, welcome back to another very special episode of the Catholic Talk Show. Today we're going to do something very exciting. We're going to have a Catholic fantasy draft.
Yeah, this is going to be like fantasy football, but instead of drafting sports players, we are drafting popes, bishops, parish priests, missionaries, and we're creating our dream team of Catholic saints.
And the number one draft pick chosen by me is...
Man, super excited to get into this episode. Ryan Shield, why don't you let everybody know, what our rules are?
Yeah, okay. So we're doing something different with this episode. Normally we talk about all kinds of historical things or the insides of the Catholic Church, but today we're having a little bit of fun. We are having a drink, and we are going to be doing a fantasy draft. So if you've ever played fantasy sports like fantasy football or fantasy baseball, or I think people even play fantasy golf or basketball, fine. What you do is you go in and you look at all the players available and you draft them and you try to get the best team to then compete against the other people in the league. So what we're doing is a version of that. So we are drafting our Catholic dream team and we're going to compete against each other and we're going to let you, the audience, decide whose team would win in the Catholic Fantasy League.
And it's going to be a round robin because now I'm going to have to play you, Father, and then I'm going to have to play you.
No, I think it's a three-way matchup, and the audience just picks which team is the powerhouse, which team is the dynasty, and which teams are...
I really think that you guys are going to see my abilities as a quarterback.
You are going to make an excellent Catholic GM.
Yeah, yeah.
So yet to be discovered.
Right.
I mean,
yeah.
So
here are the positions that we have to draft for.
Yes.
Now, I also want to make sure that all of you at home, we want you to participate in this too. So you can go out and comment on our YouTube video or on our Facebook link, wherever we post this, or on CatholicTalkShow.com where we post this video. And you can put your Catholic Dream Team too on there, and you can compete against us, and we can all have a little bit of fun with it. Now, here are the positions, and here's the premise of the draft. We have to each pick a pope, a cardinal, a bishop, a parish priest, a nun, a monk, a missionary, a catechist, a Catholic warrior, and an exorcist. So we have to pick one Catholic saint or figure or whomever to fill out each of these positions.
And then it goes, you got the first pick. And then it goes down to me, and I get two.
Oh, you want to do a snake draft?
Yeah, that's how
okay.
I
think that makes sense.
Okay.
That's fair. That's usually how we do snake drafts.
Okay, yeah, I'm cool with that.
You're going to be sandwiched in the middle the rest of your
the
rest of your life.
The rest of your life. But I can weave off of you guys. Now, one other ground rule. No, you cannot pick any member of the Trinity for any of these positions.
No.
Because...
And you can't pick any of the apostles.
No, and you can pick none of the 12 apostles.
Yes.
Because that was Jesus' fantasy mock football.
But is Paul
team
available?
Well, Paul's an apostle by Jesus Christ, individually
Let's
called.
not split hairs, guys. There's plenty of people.
No, we will split hairs. I will split hairs.
What's the what is so if somebody one of our listeners decides to participate, we're gonna have a vote? Like, are we gonna have a vote? Is somebody gonna win something? I want a belt. We have a belt at my company that we pass around for fantasy football.
Well, we'll look at it and we'll see
what if we did this every year, and whoever won got the belt, right? And then at the end of that year, if that person didn't win,
we can either get a belt or a trophy. So what we'll do is we'll take 16 of the random submissions and we'll create a round robin of those 16 submissions by the audience so that they can participate too. Okay. So the winner of that will send out a trophy or a belt or something like that, and they will win the Catholic Talk Show fantasy.
So I've been thinking about this for the last
6 minutes.
6 minutes. And I'm ready to go.
All right.
Like, things are going to happen for me right now. I can feel it.
So before we started filming, the commissioner of our league, Howard, hey Howie.
Hey Howie.
He picked a number in his head and we had a pick. And so the mock draft order, it starts with Father Rich. So you are on the clock. But before you do that, why don't you tell everyone where they can find us.
So yeah, thank you, Sheil. So make sure that you're going to CatholicTalkShow.com to subscribe, as well as checking out all the ways that you can listen in or view our content. And we thank you for your support and following us on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, as well as for all of our patrons out there. We're looking forward to your submissions, participate in this fantasy draft as well, and we're going to have a great time. I'm pumped that I have the #1 choice.
Well, you know what? Why don't we let's do 2 leagues. Well, actually, we're doing 3 leagues. One of us, one of the listeners, and one of patrons. So we'll have 3 leagues. So Patreons, you're going to get a belt. The listeners, we can send out a trophy. All right. So also click the YouTube subscribe button and make sure you're hitting the little bell. That way, when we release new videos, you get notified. All right. So Father Pagano, with the first overall pick in the Catholic Fantasy Mock Draft, you are on the clock.
And I bet you know who I'm going to pick.
So your selection with the #1 overall pick as your Pope is
John Paul II.
John Paul hashtag?
All right, that's good. That's
I'm
a good
putting
pick.
John Paul
right?
hashtag.
That's a good
John
pick.
Paul
So why are you picking John Paul?
Well, I think he's one of the greatest inspirations of my life.
Let's break down the pick.
So I think he's versatile. He's the most traveled pope in the history of the church. When it comes to what a pope must do as a shepherd of the universal church, he has to be present to his people. And I don't think there's been a greater pope who has had the privilege or the luxury of being present to so many nations and people in his years in his papacy. So I definitely want to go with his expertise, his philosophical background, his foundations, as well as, he's just an awesome, awesome leader. He leads with joy.
Yeah.
I love JP2 for my choice.
That's
JP2, we love you.
JP2.
All right. Now I am on the clock with the #2 overall pick. And my pick for Pope is
Leo
the Great.
Yes.
Break it down.
Pope Leo the Great. Now this is a smart pick by Team Shield, right? This fills a need, right? And it plays to their strength. So anyway, Leo the Great, he was transformational in establishing some of the powers and the way that the papacy throughout history would exercise the Petrine ministry.
Mm-hmm.
He established so much as far as doctrine and music, and fought off Attila the Hun at the gates of Rome. There's a reason he's called Leo
He
the
didn't
Great.
fight him off. He negotiated with him.
Well, he fought with words.
Yeah.
So that's my pick, Leo the Great, which I think that's a strong pick.
That is
a
very strong pick. I've got to give it to you.
All right.
He would have been my #2.
All right. Now, with his
So now this guy gets 2 picks now.
well, he gets his first round selection for Pope,
Okay.
and then it's going to snake
This
back
is
to
a
him,
snake
and he
draft.
gets to pick Cardinal.
With the first Pope
the
pick
third
in
overall
the
pick.
Third overall pick in the draft, Mr. Ryan Delacroix selects John Wayne. Now, hear me out. He died a Catholic, so we're now retrofitting this.
But he was
papacy.
any Catholic man is eligible for the papacy.
He was Catholic when he died. So his grandson's a priest in Southern California. Like, I think John Wayne he's what we need. You know, we need a cowboy.
Yes.
You know, and he's got to come in there and lead and not mince words and be direct with people. You know, and a lot of people say, hey, so and so said this and they said this, and what does this mean? And there's ambiguity. Well, let me tell you something. John Wayne doesn't do that. He doesn't do that.
So let's go to the draft analysis. I think this is a little bit of an overreach, and I think there's picks with more value at this position, and this is a bit of a reach at this slot in the draft. But maybe their scouts see something that I didn't see. But we'll see how that plays out in the field next year.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So now, round 2, we have to pick a cardinal. Now, what's the role of a cardinal?
It's an office.
The cardinal consults and he gives advice to the Pope, and he also is an elector of the Pope. So they have to be, and they also fill the various positions within the Vatican. They have to be good administrators. They have to be open to the Holy Spirit in the selection of the Pope, and they would also potentially become the Pope themselves. If your Pope goes down and it's week 2 and your Pope goes down for the season, and you don't want to have that empty slot and that glory position, so you got to have someone that you could slot up, right? So that's the role of the cardinal. So All right. So with the first pick in the second round for the position of cardinal, Team Dead Cross, you're on the clock, and you select
Bishop Noonan out of Orlando.
Whoa, Bishop,
Yeah.
the Bishop of the Moon.
The Bishop of the Moon.
That's a
Bishop of
surprise
the Moon,
pick.
dude. That is
Yeah.
a
But
surprise.
That's a
pick.
strong pick.
Yeah, it is a strong
My
pick.
Draft
understanding-
insiders love this pick.
I don't know if you guys know this, but they're actually moving the moon to a separate episcopacy, like a separate diocese.
Right?
So he's going to have more time.
Oh
now.
yeah.
Oh, so
And-
you're picking him for his episcopacy in Orlando, not in his jurisdiction of the moon.
Right. Right. So
Wow. So you're
listen,
playing
listen,
him out of position. That's
he's
interesting.
He's also my former rector at the seminary. So, I can see him doing really well there. He was really good at managing like the CAF and like all the teachers and stuff.
What do you think? So let's break that pick down. What do you think of this pick?
I think it's out of this world.
Yeah, he's in your ordinary band, man. You
I
better,
know. Oh, I know. Trust me, I've got nothing but love for Bishop Noonan.
All right. So with the second pick of the second round, my selection for Cardinal is Cardinal Richelieu. Now, for
Who
those
is
of
Richelieu?
who is Richelieu? Richelieu was an incredibly powerful French cardinal known for his statecraft and for his ability to negotiate behind the scenes and pull the strings. He was
cold cutter,
he was a very
but
very crafty
with very
man.
good intentions.
Not always. he was just a very effective statecraft master and very good at negotiating the I guess the inner workings of the politics of the church, and you need that on your team.
Yeah.
It can't just you can't run the church on Hail Marys alone. You got to have some administration, right? And you got to have someone that you can depend on. That's why I went with Richelieu.
I think you overthought that a little bit.
No.
Pass the tissue.
All right.
All right, I've got a strong pick.
So, third pick in the second round. Team Pagano, you're on the clock for your pick for Cardinal.
Oh, yes. Smoke a cigar after this one because this is a great pick.
Okay.
So
The pick is in.
the pick is in, and I choose Cardinal Thomas More.
Oh.
I like that. I like that.
And the reason why is he is a strong diplomat. He stands for justice and truth, and he is fearless. So I know on a consultation level, it would be based on justice and equity and not so much political suavite. So I definitely go
It's
Thomas
the anti-Richelieu.
More. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, and now that's right. We're doing the snake draft.
All right. So after 2 rounds, let's recap.
Okay.
We have drafted popes and we have drafted cardinals. So for the third round of the Catholic Fantasy mock draft, we are selecting bishops. So this is your ordinary bishop. This is the bishop that your team will be under the jurisdiction of locally.
Got another strong one.
The pick is in.
Pick is in. So
For the first pick in the third round in the position of bishop, Team Pagano selects.
Bishop Papa Bono John the 23rd.
Oh,
So I'm going with another pope, buddy.
Yeah.
do that.
And the
You're
reason why
maximizing.
is because his jolly nature, his joyful nature, and he's a pope of the people, a pope of of the priests, a priest, a great guy that you'd want to sit down and have a scotch with and a laugh, but also give you a nice tender shepherd kind of a feel as a bishop. So
he was the bishop or the Archbishop of Venice, correct?
Wow.
So I mean, look, this is a role that he naturally slides into, and he's not playing out of position.
not at all.
and
Not
getting
like John Wayne.
and getting a pope into the role of bishop, who has such a pedigree. I think that he jumps off the tape, right?
All right, here we go. We got another pick coming. Team Shield, bishop pick. Second round of the draft.
Bishop
Third round.
pick.
Third round of the
Third
draft.
round.
So, with the second pick of the third round,
man.
for the pick of bishop, I select
Bishop Sheen.
Fulton Sheen.
Ooh,
Dang,
I like
man.
it.
I was. Oh.
He's my catechist. Oh, I shouldn't have given
You
that
can't,
away.
well, you can't now.
No,
he's
yeah,
taken.
he's off the
taken.
board.
He's off the board.
I was worried that Sheen was going to go early in the
Sheen was
rounds.
going to go early, right? I
And
even
he
considered
did.
him for Cardinal.
Yes.
But I was getting nervous that he was going to come off the board soon.
Smokes, man.
So
That's a
I
good
had to
one.
take him. That's
That's
a
a good
value
one.
pick right there.
That is a value pick.
That's a
And
good
I also
one.
figure, he was an archbishop, and I don't think he ever got a fair crack of really running the administration properly.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like to see what he could do as a bishop, really catechizing his people.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
My third round pick, I'm sorry I'm taking him off the board. This is an obvious key player for my matchups against you guys and all you listeners. In the third round, Ryan Delacroix selects at Bishop St. John Vianney.
Oh.
Not only is he the patron saint of parish priests, but how could that impact him on his leadership abilities?
Wow.
What
That's
he's going to do
That's
is
a crafty
the
pick.
That is a good pick.
confessionals are going to be lined up with his priests
Yes.
instead of his parishioners. And the sanctification imparted on those priests as a bishop.
That's a good pick.
That is a very good pick.
Yeah, I'm taking shots
I'm
at
bummed
Sheen
out
right
that
now.
I can't have
Yeah,
him as my parish
I
priest.
think the draft experts are going to give that pick an A+.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of value in that pick.
And that was smart. That was a smart
He's
move.
drafting for need there, too.
Yeah.
Don't forget John Wayne. He's a key part of this.
Yeah, that's
hierarchy.
like drafting Tim Tebow in the first round. All right, so the fourth round of the
Well,
Catholic.
And then you've got to select parish. He's going to parish priest,
Yeah,
right?
so now we are into the fourth round of the Catholic Fantasy Mock Draft, and we are now picking parish priests. You are the first pick in the fourth round. You are on the clock. Now, while he's making his selection,
Yeah.
I want to talk about one of our sponsors.
Yes.
So you got time to make your selection. So you can think about this.
Yeah, I just made one, so I need it.
So we're having a little fun here today, but there's a really great program that sponsors our show, and I think that especially for people listening to this, probably a lot of guys will be watching this, is Exodus 90. Exodus 90 is a 90-day spiritual journey designed for men to help them really get themselves closer to the church, reconnect with their manliness, and to become the person that God meant them to be in their manliness and for the church. It focuses on prayer, asceticism, and fraternity, which is something that I think we're all trying to do here, besides maybe the asceticism in this moment. But if you go to exodus90.com, they have a free app that you can download. It's a 90-day program. You can do it with other men, and it'll allow you to become the person that God intended you to be. So exodus90.com, one of our sponsors, go check them out. Back to you, Ryan. So with the first pick in the fourth round, selecting the position of parish priest, Team Delacroix selects.
Charles Dave Foucault is off the board. He's off the board.
Oh, he was one
He's
of my
off the
picks.
board. And let me tell you why. This guy went and he wanted to be in the desert with the Lord in contemplation his whole life.
Good
and the Lord
choice.
sent him. And these make the best priests, right? Because
He did want solitude, though. How would he do with all these people coming to him every single day, nonstop?
Every single day, nonstop. And God's like, you're not
loved the
called to that,
desert.
buddy. So at least he knows his calling. Holy man, blessed man. Is he a saint yet? I don't know.
Blessed Charles Foucault.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
he's beatified.
Yeah, so you guys pray for a miracle because my boy is on my team now.
All right. Now I think I got a real solid pick here. I think this one is this is going to be one of the steals of the draft.
Ooh.
So with the second pick in the fourth round for position of parish priest, Team Shield selects Padre Pio.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Padre
Yeah.
Pio. His
Powerhouse.
love for the Eucharist and his love for confession and his ability to counsel other people is going to play very well in my team's parish life. I think this is a really strong pick.
Yeah.
One that Team Shield's very excited about going forward in the future. And Team Pagano, you're on the
Team
clock.
Pagano is has a fantastic pick for parish priest.
It's Father Rich Pagano. Look, I know my abilities. I know you.
We
you
don't
want
have
me to-
parochial vicar. We're not going to do that. 'Cause-
So, my pick for parish priest is none other than the great golden-tongued preacher, Saint Ambrose.
There you go.
Very good.
And when it comes to building out the church through conversions of heart, he was the one who authored those beautiful homilies that touched the heart of Augustine. And there were countless women who heard him speak and immediately gave of themselves to continence and chastity and became women religious. So we are in need of a great outbirth of a new movement in the church with women religious, as well as just overall conversions of heart. So he is going to be my parish priest because he is a passionate preacher and he is a wonderful man with a compassionate heart. So
Great pick.
St. Ambrose.
All right. So while I set up the 5th round of the draft, why don't you tell everybody about our other sponsor?
Covenant Eyes. Yeah.
Other sponsor is Covenant Eyes. So if you go to covenanteyes.com, there's a promo code which will give you 30 days free for breaking free from pornography. For this is for men and women. It's an accountability site that gives you support from your brothers and sisters that are journeying with you. It's an excellent program out there. There's a lot of success, a lot of people benefiting from it. So make sure you check out their website and support them as they support us so wonderfully. They're doing fantastic work. So make sure you check them out, Covenant Eyes, and then use the promo code Catholic Talk to get that 30 days for free. So
Very well done. So for the 5th round, Team Pagano has the first pick in the 5th round, and we are drafting either nuns or women religious. So we're drafting a women religious or a nun. Team Pagano, you are on the clock.
This is good. This is very good. Okay. For my pick, for nun or women religious, is St. Catherine of Alexandria.
Oh, that's interesting.
Patroness of philosophers. She also had a convicted way of speaking and persuasive speech. She is a phenomenal pick, a great woman leader, and also one of my patronesses where I was baptized in her church when I was a little kid. So she is definitely one of the top ones for me, and I would definitely want to develop a women's religious community around her for sure.
It's a good pick.
Thank you.
I like it.
Thank you.
All right. So with my pick, can I have
Oh, absolutely.
the official selection device here?
This is fun.
All right. So with my pick, second pick in the 5th round for women's religious, I select Catherine of Siena.
Nice.
A doctor of the church, an absolute powerhouse of a mind as good as any man's in the history of the church.
Mm-hmm.
She is one of the most powerful figures in the church, and to get her in this round, that's a lot of value in that pick. That's going to really do some really magnificent things for my team.
It's true.
Not a bad pick.
I think it's a good one.
Works good with your team.
Right now, my scouts had a real hard time picking that one. I really want.
I'm a little nervous because this is coming back men's religious.
Well, I really want to go with Bernadette at that pick.
But the pick is in. The pick is in. Team Delacrosse, 4th round draft pick, 5th round, 4th round, 5th round.
3rd pick in the 5th round.
3rd pick in the 5th round. He's going with Mother Teresa. While you guys are like all cerebral over here, I'm going with the action, man. That action.
Very good.
Beautiful woman. Everybody knows her. And I've got another pick coming, so I had to get her off the board.
All right. So now we are on to the 6th round of the Catholic Fantasy Mock Draft. And in this round, everyone has to select a monk or a men's religious. So with the first pick in the 6th round of the Catholic Fantasy Mock Draft,
I'm going to go with St. Anthony.
Oh, that is
the founder of founders, the beginner of all.
So St. Anthony of the Desert.
Yes.
Oh,
Bro,
that's a great
That
pick.
was my pick. I didn't think anybody was going to say
he came
it.
off the board.
He's like the Tom Brady of
monks.
monks.
Absolutely.
You know? I mean, he's the one that's been around the longest. He's the one that founded this beautiful life.
I know where Shield's going.
See, I could have went obscure here,
Oh, dude, that was
but I've got to go with the safe pick here.
Yeah, I know
No.
exactly what you're doing.
Now, it's not the one I wanted to pick, but
Yes.
this is the one I know I should pick.
Yep.
And it's not that I don't want to pick him. I mean, I wear his medal
I
every
know
single
it.
day
I
of my
knew it.
life.
Ugh.
I haven't taken it off for 5 years, not even for a minute.
Wow.
And that is St. Benedict of Nursia. I mean, he is the father of monasticism. Now, you said that St. Anthony of Egypt was the Tom Brady. I'd say he's more of the Bart Starr. Okay.
Yeah.
He is the Tom Brady of monasticism.
He is the father of monasticism. That's for sure. So break that down for that choice of your pick for Saint Benedict.
I mean,
what is your hope?
Well, the hope there is that the structure and the benefit that the Benedictines and the Benedictine rule and then the religious orders
beer.
and the religious orders that came from them, like the Cistercians, and there's a lot of grace there, and there's a lot of powerful contributors to Western society. I think this is just a pick that fills out your lineup look, this is an everyday player. This is a surefire Pro Bowler, right? Every time. You can't go wrong with that pick.
All right.
Sixth round, pick 3 for position
Goes
of
to
monk.
Father
Team
Pagano.
Pagano selects.
Very strong pick.
Men's religious.
Saint Ignatius of Loyola.
Oh, that's a good one.
You better believe when it comes to no greater missionary zeal and no greater religious order that spread the gospel so effectively in the history of the church. St. Ignatius truly lit up so many of the greatest, arguably, evangelists in the history of the church. And he himself was so in love with Christ in that contemplative manner. He created a spirituality that's applicable for every age, including the age of today. And it's a spirituality I
we
assign
both went
myself
monk.
to.
You went
Religious.
Religious. See, so we're drafting for blocking tight ends.
Yeah.
You're going for a receiving tight end. It's a different.
It shows you our hearts with
Right.
kids and family. It's like we appreciate the monastic
order,
life,
and
the order of
the ability to take a nap in silence.
yes,
And I want to drive down the field,
Right.
so
That's right.
I need to move
That's where
this.
this is coming from. I like
Yo,
it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Ignatius of Loyola. That's
I like
that's
it.
a great pick.
Thank you.
I
All right,
think-
we're moving
all
on.
right.
What's the next?
Oh, now I get to.
We're doing Catechist now.
Now, for the 7th round of the Catholic mock draft, we are selecting, and everyone out there is selecting, missionaries.
Missionaries.
Now, we are a missionary church. We are called to spread the gospel to every corner of the earth. So this is a very important member of the team. So with the first pick in the 7th round of the Catholic Fantasy mock draft at the position of missionary, Team Pagano selects.
Saint Damien, baby.
Wow.
You ain't messing with him.
Is that Molokai?
Absolutely.
Oh man,
You are not messing with this boy when it comes to that.
yeah.
Oh, that is a good pick.
Strong pick right here. I'm very, very confident. I had him on my list from get-go,
Saint
and I'm
Damien
glad that I got
Molokai.
the first. I got the first.
Literally just gave his life up to minister to
pick. The
people.
heart of a missionary.
Yeah.
Saint Damien, bro.
He gave his life up to mission to
minister to the lepers.
minister to the lepers in Hawaii and
Yeah,
Molokai.
man.
And there's a beautiful shrine there for him. They actually have his
I
hand
feel
now.
really good about that pick.
I do. And then the 7th round of the mock draft, the Catholic Fantasy mock draft, Ryan Shield, Team Shield selects in the position
I know
of
exactly who
missionary.
he's going with.
I'm going, now this is going to be a pretty wild selection.
Really?
Now, you'll see the Patriots a lot of times. They'll draft someone that they have no intention of playing them at the position that they played in college, right? I mean, some of their best receivers are converted quarterbacks, right? So they have people playing out of position. Edelman.
Yeah, Edelman.
They have people they know are going to excel because of the virtue of who they are in a new position. And I don't think this pick as a missionary is really too far off, but I look at the physical traits, right, for this position, and someone has to be very vigorous and be able to stand up to a lot of stuff that happens on the road. I went with St. Athanasius.
Wow. Why missionary? He was a bishop and he spoke out against heresy.
Yeah, but he was on the road and in hiding and traveled all over, getting away from the people persecuting. He has the kind of stamina you need from a missionary.
Gotcha. You're just going to redirect that holiness.
I'm converting him from a bishop to a missionary because I like the physical attributes, and I also, as a missionary, the clarity that he spoke with and the Athanasian Creed
I like that.
is that works in a missionary field because the Athanasian Creed is a very succinct way of, it's almost like a precursor to the Nicene Creed. And it's maybe a shorter way that might work very well in a missionary standpoint. I'm rolling the dice here, but I think this is going to work out for me.
You're patting yourself on the back because in the 7th round, the Delacrosse team, St.
Delacrosse.
Francis Xavier.
Oh, that's a good pick.
That's an excellent
The guy's
pick.
got a proven track record.
Yep.
You know, and is literally
He's covered more ground.
He's covered more ground, and he's been all over the place, and it's been effective mission work.
I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, he's the person credited with converting more people than anyone else in the history of the world.
Absolutely.
That's why it's a good pick.
He puts St. Paul to shame.
Well, not to shame.
Oh,
he had more
my gosh.
opportunities. Not to shame, but you're going to get production out of this player.
I'm going to get a lot of production. He's a horse.
He's a horse.
He's a horse, dude.
Yeah, this is your third.
Horse, of course.
Yeah, this is your every down back. He's going to grind it out 3 yards in a cloud of dust. That's a good pick.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
What's the next pick?
So,
Catechist.
Now,
Catechist.
the 8th round of the Catholic Fantasy Mock Draft, we are drafting catechists, right? These are the person on your team that's going to be responsible for teaching the faith to your league, whatever. So, catechist. First pick.
I mean, this position, obviously, Fulton Sheen's off the board right now.
Yes.
One of the greatest catechists of our time. So I'm going to have to go with Pope Emeritus Benedict the 16th. Because he does it. There's nobody more precise in theology like this guy, and he does it with a lot of love.
Can I propose a trade? Are we allowed to trade?
Are you going to propose a trade with Sheen? I'll give you John Wayne.
I'll tell you what. No, I don't want John Wayne. I'll tell you.
Where do you see my Exorcist?
I'll give you John Wayne.
I got something in the bag.
I'll give you Fulton Sheen and Saint Benedict if you give me. No, I'll tell you what. I'll give you Fulton Sheen and the rights to my second pick in the 8th round for Benedict. Let's not get into trades, but dang it,
we'll figure this out off camera.
Okay. That's a good pick.
Yeah.
I'm really jealous.
Now nobody else can. Now, yeah, can the listeners, can they?
The listeners can pick whoever they want.
They can pick whoever they want. Okay, they can pick some of ours.
It's a good pick, but I'm not going to cry about it because I think the pick that I'm selecting here is just as strong.
Yeah.
So with the second pick in the 8th round of the Catholic Fantasy Mock Draft, Team Shield selects for catechist.
Of course.
Thomas Aquinas.
Of course.
Yeah, good pick.
Can't go wrong with that pick.
You're giving Benedict a lot of credit by saying this is kind of in the same realm as that player.
Well, but I think he is.
Yeah.
I think he absolutely is.
Yeah.
Because Aquinas, with his precision and his systematic theology, is one thing. It's a very scholarly approach. But Benedict was able to have every bit the high-mindedness of Aquinas, but also had a much more
pastoral application
and common touch.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
I just think Benedict's a 5-tool player.
Yes.
Yeah. He can pray, he can think, he can play music, he does it all.
He had a cat.
He does it all. He does it all. I mean, he was a pope, he was the CDF, he was a bishop, he was a professor, he flies a helicopter. He was the first Pope Emeritus.
Oh yeah, he in he fought a helicopter in the army or something like that.
No, he just knew how to fly one.
Oh.
He learned himself. All right. So with the last pick in the 8th round of the Catholic Fantasy Mock Draft at the position of catechist, Team Pagano's looking smug and feeling like he's got something good here.
I have something very good.
The pick is in.
So the pick is in. And let me say to your Thomas Aquinas.
Oh, I know where he's going. I know where he's going.
So highly intellectual. Sometimes you can't just drive that intelligentsia into your students without somebody like a St. Francis Xavier Cabrini.
Oh, that's a great pick.
Oh, wow. That's a very good one.
First Saint of the United States of America, commissioned by Leo. Your Leo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
no, not my Leo.
It
Leo
wasn't
the 13th.
Leo the 13th.
My Leo was the first one. That's like there's 12 in
The
between.
Great. 11. The Great was the first one.
Leo 13 was great too, but not the great. Lowercase.
But Leo the 13th sent her to America, and she founded so many hospitals as well as schools. My aunt went to her school actually, and I venerated her tomb and spent time in prayer with her. I think she is definitely a no-brainer choice for me because she's going to be able to drive some of the
Seems
beautiful
like an
articles of
emotional
our
pick
faith.
for you,
But no,
Father.
but this is a great pick,
All
though.
of my picks are an emotional pick.
But here's an interesting draft tidbit, right? Coming into the draft, the reporters are saying that when I go to the cathedral in Cleveland, St. John the Evangelist, and I worked downtown for years, and I'd sneak over for confession during lunch and mass. The way that the confession is set up in the right transept of the cathedral, I would always stand against the one wall, and then waiting in line, there was a statue of Francis Cabrini, and I would just stare at her the whole time while I was doing my examination of conscience. So that's my personal connection. I think that's a great pick.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
feel good about that.
Now,
yeah, we're moving on to the ninth round.
So these are kind of, I would say, the 9th and the 10th rounds. These are kind of like the special teams, right? These are the ones that are not necessarily everyday players.
So the warrior is kind of like the running back that's going to face any type of opponent.
Well, one of the picks is a warrior, and
So,
then what's the other
The
one?
last is the exorcist.
The exorcist. So the warrior. Let's explain that position real quick.
So throughout the history of the church, it's not all been sitting around the campfire singing Kumbaya.
Yeah,
It's not all been
like
a Vatican
the
II
70s and 80s
party. There's been some times in the history of the church where some fisticuffs were in order.
Yeah.
And you need to have that. You need to have the protection. I mean, the Pope has the Swiss Guard. I mean, Peter carried a sword, right? I mean, you need some muscle on your team.
Yep.
And we're talking, this is the muscle of your team. So
Gotcha.
with the first pick in the 9th round of the Catholic Fantasy Draft at the position of warrior, Team Pagano selects
A warrior and who truly conquered the flesh, in my opinion, Saint Jean de Brebeuf.
Oh, that's a good.
That is a warrior par excellence. Homeboy was filleted for the gospel. Some of the most barbaric martyrdoms in North America.
Oh wow.
Jesuit, martyr, awesome powerhouse of a warrior.
Now,
Was that the guy that got his fingers chopped off?
well, he was the one who had hot coals in his eyes.
Hot coals in his eyes. His flesh was also flayed, wasn't it?
Yeah, but now I'm not gonna say this is not a great saint, but at the position of warrior, I feel he's playing out of position a little bit.
You think?
Because he wasn't fighting back.
He
I
had
think
no fear.
He had no fear. So I mean, he definitely had the spiritual makeup of a warrior, but maybe not the practical application.
Oh, you want
of
somebody that is fighting.
Well,
It's warrior.
it's
Father
warrior,
Rich.
not martyr. But your pick is in. You can't change it.
No,
No, understand the draft. Do your research, man. This is how GMs get fired.
This is how GMs get fired.
All right. See, this is a hard pick for me because you left a couple on the board with your egregious mistake, right? This is
You left a few.
this is going to bump your draft stock down a lot. But I'm going to go with
I think so.
the second pick in the 9th round, the Catholic Fantasy Draft for the position of warrior. I'm going with the warrior Pope, Pope Julius II.
Julius II.
This man was the Pope, but would also ride into battle in full armor at the head of the troops. And he goes down in history known as the warrior Pope, one of the great popes.
Is he a saint?
That's legit.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with this pick.
He's not a saint.
He's not a saint.
I think he is.
My guy is a saint.
Yeah, but
Saint
his
Jean
is
de
bet-
Brebeuf.
His is better. Yours would be good for a martyr. All right. So what round are we in this draft?
Third pick in the, what is it, the 9th?
We are in the 9th round, and you are picking the selection for warrior.
Joan of Arc.
Oh,
Get some.
dominant.
I got
Yeah, you dominated that round.
I think that might be the steal of the
power.
draft.
That's definitely the steal
Female
of the draft.
power on this one, and
For sure.
You know what? I sniped you guys. I got it in the 3rd pick in the draft. It's probably
I
if
think
you
this
look
is
at if you look at the draft, this was definitely one of the best ones. I think in terms of getting talent.
Yeah, I think this is maybe probably the pick of the draft. I think this is the steal of the draft.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Just saying.
That's a great pick. I mean, that almost makes up for the picking of John Wayne as your Pope.
No, you guys don't know. Like this is how we change the world.
All right. I mean, that's like drafting Baker Mayfield #1. He's not the right size, not really the traditional quarterback, but it works, right? You're
Who's
breaking the
Baker
mold.
Mayfield again? He plays for the Browns. Okay, yeah, that's
okay,
probably
Deshaun
why.
Watson.
Yeah, pick is in. The pick is in.
So
Exorcism.
Exorcist. So the final round of the Catholic mock draft, we were picking our team's exorcist. This needs to be a spiritual warrior.
Mm-hmm.
Now, before I tell everybody about this pick, there's bookends in my draft, right? There's John Wayne, and then in the Exorcist position, we've got Chuck Norris. Okay, so hear me out. Hear me out. We're going down this thing. We got. It's kind of like the ninth batter being really good at getting on base, and then the first hitter coming up. You know, this is the reason why I picked Chuck Norris, because he's and he doesn't mess around. And there's already like folklore about him already. So if he goes in with the rite of exorcism, boy, you better bet he's going toe to toe. You know,
That's a interesting pick.
you don't like it.
You know, there's one thing
You want
about
to trade me for
no things.
I like this pick. I think our listeners will like it too.
So if
I
I
think
could
you're
ask,
playing to the audience, but I don't think that's a good pick. That's not going to translate well on the field.
if
But
I
maybe
could
I'm
ask
wrong.
Kyle,
You don't listen. What you guys don't see is the humanity, right? You guys are going inside baseball. You're trying to pick somebody in the crowd, you know. And what I'm doing is I'm going outside of the box. I'm playing Moneyball, guys.
Yeah, we're all drafting for
This is
analytics, and
Moneyball.
your players are trying to pass the eye test. I get how you draft. I get your strategy. It's not going to work, but I get it.
Yeah.
All right. So for my last pick in the Catholic Fantasy Draft, in the second selection in the 10th round for position of Exorcist, I select St. Francis Borgia.
Who's that? Is that the dude that invented the
No, St.
music?
Francis Borgia.
Saint Guido?
No, St. Francis Borgia was a powerful exorcist, and he's basically known as the second founder of the Jesuits.
Okay.
He was the fourth leader of the Jesuits. He was the great-grandson of Pope Alexander VI. And he redeemed the Borgia name by his holiness, by reforming the Jesuits, and by being renowned as just an absolute battler of evil. And look, this is
I still think Chuck Norris
I'm
is-
picking a player from a small school, but I did a lot of
Chuck
research.
Norris
My
has
scouts
got
are
a
out
lot
there.
more evil than this guy. I
Then
can tell
Francis
you that
Borgia,
right now.
you're wrong.
I think so.
Nope, you're wrong.
Have you seen all the movies he's in?
Have you seen the most famous image painting of exorcism? It is of Francis Borgia.
Yeah. Okay. We might have to post that.
I don't have to post anything. I'm just going to post. I'm going to post that next to my championship trophy. All right. So
Whatever.
Mark Dora.
now, this is
Nay.
now in most.
Nay, nay.
There you go. There's Francis Borgia
Oh,
doing.
shit. Nay, nay.
Yeah, I mean he's got the crucifix. I mean he's shooting. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
All right. So now in most drafts, the last pick of the draft is known as Mr. Irrelevant. So I would hate to say that any saint is Mr. Irrelevant, but with the last pick of the Catholic Fantasy Draft, the last pick of the last round for position of Exorcist, Team Pagano selects.
My go-to. Whenever I am in a dark battle. St. Michael the Archangel.
Oh, you went angelic.
I went
order.
angelic, baby.
Wow,
see,
bro. That
he
was,
is changing paradigms.
Yeah,
This is going to
that
change
was
the
a Joan-
league.
That's better than Joan of Arc, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is
Boom.
going to change the paradigm of this league for generations to
Yeah,
come.
yeah.
I mean,
You're
this
an
is-
archangel.
This is like adding the 3-point line or the forward pass, right? He's revolutionizing the league here.
Yeah. Talk
That's-
about Moneyball.
That's very
yeah.
good. I think that really helped your overall team.
I think
That's
so, too.
wow.
I think so too.
I don't think you have a chance.
No, what you guys don't understand is that there are many lay people out there that have criteria. You know, they meet the criteria for some of these positions. And when
Chuck Norris
throwing-
is not even Catholic.
he will figure it out. John Wayne don't need to figure it out. He's a cowboy.
He's Pope Cowboy.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he's got an
The
airport named
cowboy
after him, so-
pope, man. That's true. He's the Duke.
Yeah.
Duce. He's the leader.
Yes. Yes.
No.
Thank you
right.
for recognizing that.
So now, everyone out there, we'll post the categories. We want you to make your picks. We want you to post them on YouTube or on Facebook on the post. Or if you're in Patreon, we'll put a thread inside of there. We're going to have 3 leagues. We want you all to vote on which of our teams is going to win. We'll post our picks and our teams. You can select who's going to win. We want you to create your own teams, post, and we'll pick 16 of them out of each league. And when we'll do a a round robin, see who wins, and then we're going to send out some trophies and some
We
title
need
belts.
We need to do this every year.
This is great. This is a blast.
Yeah.
Well,
Look, I think my team's going to win. I think I have the most consistent draft.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah, I mean,
Now, you
that's
guys both had some really
self-commentary.
spectacular
I've got
picks.
some strong players, though.
Yeah, but I mean, that 9th round pick of a martyr in the position of
Archangel.
warrior.
Dude, he was a total warrior.
Look, I'm not minimizing
Think
him, but
about
that's,
think about the Jesuit missionaries who had to deal with the Iroquois, this like absolutely violent tribe of natives. What it took for him as a warrior to go into that type of hostility is unbelievable.
The grace and the blessings and the way that he accepted his martyrdom are something that I could never even fathom.
Absolutely.
But I'm just saying, if it's Julius II, there wouldn't be Iroquois still.
Says the guy
But
that
you
picked
were
Julius
explaining
II.
warrior while I was writing down the name.
Yeah.
Do you need me to explain what the word warrior means to you? How
Wow.
many years did you go to school?
I think.
Did you
like
get kicked out
Saint
of
Jean-
seminary like me?
I think Saint Jean
All right.
Jean?
is a pretty awesome warrior.
Yeah, although I think, look, all of our teams have strengths and weaknesses, and we're just going to have to let the audience decide.
Yeah.
No.
Should we? So before we leave, I think it's important to share again about our sponsors. Exodus 90. Again, fasting, aesthetics, and just an overall program that's changing men's lives. 90 days, and check it out at exodus90.com. They've got a lot of preparatory materials for you to get started looking at, and
And the free app, which go and download. It's for iPhone, Android. You can get started with Exodus 90 anytime.
Yep, and Covenant Eyes. Covenant Eyes is a filter.
It's not a filter. It's an accountability software. It's very distinct from a filter, and that's one of the things that makes them so unique, is that it's a system and a program that you can use on your phone that will allow you to have accountability to yourself and to others to help you in your battle against pornography. So many men and women struggle with pornography. So if you struggle with it, this will help you overcome it through accountability. Or if it's something that you want to avoid and don't struggle with, this will prevent you from ever having a problem. So go to go to covenanteyes.com and use the code Catholic Talk, and you get 30 days free so you can try it out.
Excellent. Well, my friends, thank you for journeying with us this week, and we will see you next week. Be sure to subscribe on our platforms, especially on YouTube. Click the little bell so that you get updated every time we release a new video. And God bless you. See you next week.